I'd be thinking similar to what we just talked about. If Luka Doncic is not close to 100%,
Yep.
I was not aware of that injury. I'm watching late, and all of a sudden, when he comes out at halftime and he's got the wraps and the packs on his neck, you just shake your head. I thought it was going to be a very, very competitive series. I think it still may. I don't care that they were able to, step up, ratchet it up, play really well. Their two stars played extremely well. Games 1 and 2 were not that long ago, so that series is far from over. But a healthy Luka Doncic can give Dallas a real opportunity to win the series. Again, he needs to do special things. And that's just not fair to anybody in this league. But, you kind of look at it and say, well, Luka's got to get at least 35, and he's got to have double-digit assists for Dallas to have a chance. I mean, it's ridiculous to say something like that against, a team that's a good defensive team and has two of the best wing or perimeter defenders in the entire NBA. But that's reality for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, watching them play defense, though, the last couple of games, they look totally different. It's funny because they all said, hey, we're good. We're going to go to Dallas, and we're good. And, of course, everybody said, you're lying. Right? Nobody comes back from losing the first 2 games at home and then win a series. But they looked like they flipped a defensive switch in the last couple of games that I didn't know that they could flip the way they did. Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't think anybody knew other than the players themselves. I think there was a lot of skepticism. I mean, again, it wasn't that long ago, and it wasn't just that they lost or not like they got beat on the last shot of the game and they outplayed the Mavs the whole game and bad luck, we lost. They looked like they were badly outplayed. They looked like they were listless. And most importantly, which you just referenced, they weren't defending the way they're capable of defending. That's not a good. That's an excellent defensive team when they play like that. That's the thing about the Lakers, too. The Lakers' defense is so good, it can keep them in games. But I don't know if they can win, 4 games out of 7 against the caliber of opposition they're going to face. There's no easy series at all in the West, even remotely close, and particularly when you start, from the 7th slot that the Lakers are going to have to do. But defense is amazing in the playoffs. You can really lock in on a team. Danny sees that more where you get a week to get ready for a team and, you make adjustments. You can do some things. Normally in the NBA, you don't see that because the games come so quickly, especially in a season like this one. But this is more like college basketball where you have days to get ready and you can really zero in on an opponent. So it's harder to score, and it's a real advantage for defense during the playoffs.
That may, one more before we let you go, Coach, that may lead into the next question, which is how surprised are you by how bad the Knicks have looked?
I'm very surprised. I thought it still may be. I thought it was going to be a great series. I thought that was a classic 4-5, 2 teams.
In this league. Lend some perspective for us. Has it always been this bad? When you were coaching, did players talk about this kind of stuff happening? We're just more conscious about it now? Or do we have a real legit problem with the fans coming after the players in a way that was not the case before?
Well, there's always been an issue, and the players would talk about it, but I think the feeling was it was more isolated. It wasn't like it happened every night. There might have been some cities where you would expect it or see it more. I think I hate to say it, but what's changed a little bit is with the cameras and the scrutiny and the phones, the devices and everything, you don't get away with it now. I think people may have gotten away with it more back when I first started in the league. And, it wasn't like, it happened every night and who did that. But to say that this is the first time it's happening is not accurate. The players would talk about it. But as I said, whether it's fair or not, there was a feeling there were more cities where it might happen. But it wasn't a regular occurrence, and it was more verbal. I really don't remember too much of the arenas where you have to walk through a tunnel or underneath. Yeah, there could be deer coming down every once in a while, or it would probably deer. But I don't think to the extent that it's happening now, but I do think convoluted logic. But the only good thing now is no one's getting away with it. When somebody does something, it's seen, and usually you can identify the person and deal with the person.
Yeah, you're right. There's cameras everywhere. What I'm also wondering is, because, again, you've been in the league forever, around players, coach these players. Do the players feel more empowered, and I think rightfully so in this day and age, to say something about it, to point it out? Like, did guys maybe in the 80s, 90s, guys that you coached, did they just look at it as the cost of doing business, and they would just kind of eat the abuse and say, oh, that's what we have to deal with from fans? And now the guys today just don't do that, that they're going to be a little bit more, hey, like, I don't have to take that, and I'm going to talk about it.
I think there's an element of truth to that for sure. I think the players are much more comfortable being outspoken and commenting on what's going on. That's obviously a bigger sociological issue. But, yeah, I think there's an element of that. I don't think players were scared to say anything. I think you referenced it before by saying that was more the cost. You were yelled at in different arenas. You knew when you were on the road you were going to be abused a little bit. You knew it would be worse in the playoffs, the things that were being said. But, again, not to the extent. I mean, the frequency, is that our fourth incident and we're like barely our second week into the playoffs? No. Not with near the frequency now. And I couldn't even venture a guess as to why. I don't know whether the fact that fans weren't in any arenas at all until just a couple of weeks ago, and now all of a sudden being back in arenas, why would that cause them to, behave any worse or behave the way they're behaving? I don't understand it. I don't see it.
Based on the conversations you have with people in the league, and I'm sure you talk to people in the league and you talk to players all the time, what's the level of concern here, big picture wise? I mean, this has gone beyond isolated incidents at this point. Like, how does the league view this in terms of where it all might be headed and what they have to do about it?
I can't speak for the league, but I would imagine they are as angry and as disappointed as you can be with what's happening. There's absolutely no question that the players are concerned, for their safety, frankly. Now, it's one bad enough throwing popcorn or spitting, which is, inexcusable. Now we're talking two instances where, they're throwing things where somebody might get hurt.
Yeah.
So there's no question the players want to feel when they go into an arena, A, that they're going to be protected, and B, that something like this can happen. Now, marshaling enough people to watch 15,000 people is going to be a challenge. I would like to continue to say these are isolated incidents, but it gets a little harder every day you wake up, and as many games as we've had, and then we've had these incidents, you just shake your head. But no question how concerned the players are. I can't imagine Adam Silver and the people in the league office and Michelle and the people in the Players Association aren't as upset and disappointed as you can be. But to, get the 29 arenas in the league, I mean, they're just, I'm sure they're ratcheting up security. They're going to, we may see more rules of what what you can sell and all that. I don't know. I don't know where we're going, but it's nowhere that anybody wants to go. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, it's not the kind of thing we love to spend all this time talking about either. We have to. It's a big story, but unfortunately, the issue is probably not going anywhere anytime soon. So in the meantime, let's pivot to the games. Lakers, Suns yesterday.